HDSLR Shooter, your source for news from NAB 2014. Brought to you by Adobe, Animas, Blackmagic Design, and Carl Zeiss.
Clint with HDSLR Shooter here. I'm here with Steve Forde of Adobe. And Steve, there's a new pending release that's coming. We've been hearing all about it. We've talked to folks about Premiere and also some of the other apps. Talk to us a little bit about After Effects. What are we going to see in this new version?
Yeah, sure. I think the primary thing was the integration between Premiere Pro and After Effects. So really, we focused on how can we bring some of the technology of After Effects right into Premiere Pro, but do it in a bit of a unique way in the sense that it's focused on the editing experience. So just jamming features in from After Effects into Premiere Pro to us doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's look at things like, say, the manipulation of text, or on a template for things like lower thirds. Can you create an interesting template in After Effects, bring that into Premiere Pro, but then have the editor just change the text and do simple things, but conform to the entire creative that was done in After Effects without having to jump over into After Effects. So that's something that we're really proud of, and we've had a lot of feedback in our beta testing and all that kind of stuff, and it's been really good. I think it's also laying some really good foundation for how you're going to see the evolution of dynamic link and how we're going to take the technology and evolve it so that we're always doing things from the perspective of what you're trying to accomplish. When I'm in the editing mode, I'm focused on telling a story. I'm trying to cut my images and bring it into something that's cohesive. When I'm in After Effects, it's about technical creativity. I want to do something very interesting and play maybe to see if it works. So the idea is that can we bring the right technology to the right context of use and then take it from there. That also bleeds into things that are this year in Premiere Pro. We brought other technology in, such as the masking and tracking capabilities that have been in After Effects. But from an After Effects perspective, again, we want to make it so that there's no penalty. When you say create that mask and apply, say, a mosaic effect on blurring out a face, I want to bring that into After Effects to do more. Well, in the past, you'd have to be able to recreate. You just start from scratch. You'd do the mask over again in After Effects that you may have already done in Premiere. You have to reapply the effect and that kind of stuff. Not anymore. Everything is seamless back and forth. So in other words, you can take what you did in Premiere and start from there right off in After Effects. So that's really this blending of the two technologies. The other thing too, from a pure After Effects perspective, we also saw so many people reshooting footage when ideally they shouldn't have to. So this gets into keying. So many, we've seen people do shoots and then walk away looking at the footage in its raw form and say, yeah, I'm going to pull a decent key from that. But then really sit down and get into post and find out there's too much noise or chatter, or they have a little bit too much spill coming in from when they try to pull the key. So we've reintroduced two new effects. One's called the Advanced Spill Suppressor, which is really just that, getting rid of spill in a very unique way. In fact, we've never seen any technology in the market like it, and we're getting some really good feedback on that. Another one is called the Key Cleaner, and it's really just designed to work in conjunction with your keying solution of choice. For example, if you use like Key Light in After Effects, you just apply the effect, and then you can tweak how it removes noise and chatter in different areas and go from there. So overall, After Effects, we're really excited in terms of the integration between Premiere Pro, but also focusing on those individual aspects when you go into the After Effects environment.
I know for personal experience that, I was pretty good at Premiere, and I wanted to get into After Effects, and every time I would go to, the app, it would just be like daunting, And finally, once I got the flow of it and with some great tutorials and everything, I was able to, feel more comfortable in that workspace. Do you think these After Effects apps within the Premiere will maybe attract some folks that were maybe hindered a bit from going in and doing more stuff in After Effects?
Absolutely, I think so. I mean, you're not alone. The interesting thing, and I've said this to a few other folks, but my first day at Adobe, I came in to run the After Effects business, and my very first day, I had two different camps come at me and say, one, you have to make After Effects easier to use because editors will use it more if it's easier. But then the entire After Effects user base is, whatever you do, don't change it. Okay. So that became, when I look at it from that side, it was like, well, maybe that's the logical, make it easier to use. Well, maybe it's from the context of trying to do something in editing. Let's bring the technology and maybe change it. So a great example is the warp stabilizer. We released that in CS 5.5. We put it into After Effects, and it was really oriented around stabilizing footage. But then what we did is we brought it into Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro, we looked at it from the editing experience and changed the buttons and the dials in terms of what you could do with it because it was oriented around the telling of the story. And then in After Effects, we rechanged it so it was the Warp Stabilizer VFX, and that allowed you to do all the creative embellishment, go crazy on the technical side, tweak it in areas that probably you just don't need to unless you really want to go down that path. You can get a great result instantaneously. You can do a great result, especially accelerated by the GPU in Premiere. But at the same time, if you really want to go into the advanced parameters, they're all available to you. And you can do something very interesting. And in fact, I remember when we released the technology, we hadn't even thought of it, but users came at us and said, "Hey, I want to be able to reverse stabilize things." And we're, okay. And so I think your point is spot on.
This app will be coming along here in the next few months. But if people want to find out more about After Effects, I know that you have a tremendous amount of video that's on the Adobe website. Is that right?
Yeah, Adobe TV has a lot of video that tells you everything about After Effects. Obviously, even as part of our Creative Cloud offering, we offer a lot of Lynda training for all of the applications. If you're looking for the up-to-date, what's most current, blogs.adobe.com/After Effects has, that's where our team communicates directly with folks who use the application. And in fact, I think we added almost 20 features this release that came direct from feedback on that blog. So if you have it, we'd love to hear from you.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Steve.
Great. Thank you.
HDSLR Shooter, your source for news from NAB 2014. Brought to you by Adobe, Animus, Blackmagic Design, and Carl Zeiss.